Greetings. Today is the 4th of October 2017. It was just announced that Tesla missed their delivery numbers on the Model 3. And the question is, when will they start producing the Model 3 at scale? And therefore, when will you get your Model 3? That is the question we'll be answering today. Greetings, this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. There are many of you that I know are wondering what the deal is on your Model 3. By the way, I should say Wie geht's? Здравствуйте, ni hao ma. So, I had an interesting situation occur, which is I had an intern of mine go to the Tesla factory in Fremont, California and take pictures. A couple of those photos I'm including prior to the start of this video. And the goal was to sort of show you in general what things look like at the factory. The one photo that's easy to recognize is the truck sitting there with a number of Model X's. But you'll also notice that that truck is sitting on the street. It's not inside of the Tesla property. So it really shows you how tight space is currently for Tesla, that they have to park finished vehicles on the street because there's no real space because of construction, employee parking, as well as just vehicles that are being worked on consuming the primary property. In late August is when the photos were taken, and my intern said to me, well, you know, it seemed kind of strange because his exact words were, I took the photos, it was a strange situation because the construction going on suggested that they were building in a manner that would double the footprint of the current building in Fremont. So after speaking with him, I was kind of scratching my head because I couldn't figure out how they're starting from scratch. I mean dirt. I mean sticking a dozer's plate into the ground. So I don't know what it's like in your country, but in the United States, the way things work is each stage of construction requires, you have to have overall permits, which they've had for a year, but every stage of construction, from pouring concrete to putting up walls, you know, the roof, all those systems have to be built out, then inspected, and then you're allowed to go on to the next step. And they're doing some complex stuff, so I would say that you could wait. You know, if you're building something from scratch at the scale that they're going, the delay time in just getting inspectors in there on time could be a couple of 3 weeks of gap time where you finish one part, then you have the next part starting. So Elon Musk had mentioned with the Model 3 that he has supply chain challenges, which is the slowdown. And as I shared with you, 80% of their supply chain is in-house. So there's very little coming from non-Tesla facilities. So my general assessment, if I were going to put a number in, is I would say it takes about a month and a half at least, you know, even if the inspectors were sitting next door, to get brand new square footage up as they're doing currently. Then it's going to take probably another month to get that factory floor equipped with the gear that you need to make that thing work. And so now you've got the floor equipped, the factory's equipped, you got to get inventory in that thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if production does start, as they discussed, in December at scale, and it may be at the latter part of December, possibly early January, if there were a few hiccups in there, like inspectors delayed or something else going on that isn't part of their routine. Is this bad news? The question is bad news? Unfortunately, it delays your Model 3 by a month or two, but it really can't be helped. I had assumed that because they've had these orders for a year and a half, they were starting to build the manufacturing space for those Model 3s already. But from what I'm learning, they got the permits last year, beginning of this year, and literally have not started construction on the Model 3 production lines and storage facilities for parts until June or July. So I would say the best schedule is everything ready to roll early December, which is about in line with what their expected scale production might be. I also think this shows that 300 units that were completed that are in employee hands are more on the hand-built side. I would say they slipped those produced units in among the Model 3s or Model X's and S's that were being produced on those lines and simply, made it work on a semi-handmade basis to get some vehicles out that could be shown. I think this is kind of crazy because the world's greatest manufacturer, I think, in cars is actually Toyota. And one of their focal points is what's called quiet manufacturing, which means you build a production line and your goal is to get that line working as smoothly and quietly as possible. So if you're trying to do everything on a deadline that's really short, it potentially introduces a lot of defects, and those defects are expensive to fix. So I hope this is not the case with Tesla, but given the speed to market that they're doing things at, this wouldn't be unexpected for this to occur. So the other question that does lurk is, why didn't Elon just say the factory ain't done yet versus saying to everyone, oh, we have supply chain issues? Well, perhaps part of the supply chain issues is if you have no place for the plant to be built and to store the parts going into those cars, you could argue that is supply chain, but that's a little shady. Look forward to your comments on this. I'll post some photos of, they aren't heavily descriptive, but at least you get a chance to see a little bit of what's happening in and around the factory at the front of this video. I have to also say that I'm really excited right now because I don't know if you saw it, but there's an analyst that just did an upgrade of Tesla to a $500 price target early next year because, even if they've delayed by a month or two, it doesn't affect the monopoly they have on cars with a 300-mile range. I was really excited, surprised to see, in one case, it's being predicted their stock is going to fall by $100 by Goldman Sachs, and I believe Nomura's analyst is predicting the stock will rise by 40% or $140. I think the latter is more likely the case, and I also think that some of the stuff they're doing with the battery packs that they're selling and installing will also help the situation as well. I think that's about it for now. Look forward to your comments. Hopefully these guys can get it together and start producing these Model 3s so they can generate that revenue and show credibility as to why the market should be very happy with them. I also will say, please, Elon Musk, don't get 10 hookers at $1 million a piece a month and do something crazy that causes us to lose faith. I think you've got enough cash and enough wives and enough kids, so hang in there, dude. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Tschüss, macht's gut, au revoir, lehitrahot, hoda hafez. Please like and subscribe. Look forward to your comments.